Welcome back to the Fanspeak Network and another episode of Friends of Best Ball. That's right, it's Friday. It means Friends of Best Ball. I'm joined by John Jackson, and we're going to get into all his amazing data and draft a BBM together in just 1 minute. That's right. Happy Friday, everyone. Another edition of Friends of Best Ball. And I am so excited to have John Jackson at John Boy Beats this Friday. John, I read your newsletter, follow you on Twitter, love the stuff you put out, and it's so exciting to have you on. How are you doing tonight? Uh-oh, did we lose your audio?
We good? I'm so
can you
sorry.
hear
I
me?
feel like I'm screwing this up.
No. Can you hear me okay?
I can't hear you again, Meg. Oh no.
Oh no, yeah, we had some technical, some
we have
audio
to
difficulties before.
Let me figure out what is
But
going on.
we will get there. I promise we will get there. If you're in the chat, let
All
me
right,
know.
we're good. We're good now again.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, John, it is so good to have you on. First of all, how are you doing tonight?
Doing well. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. I probably should try to get to my computer before 1 minute of going on stream, but we made it. I see you got a pup in the background. That's awesome.
I got a pup in the background. He's been sick today, so it's a hot mess over here. So believe me, I totally understand. It's all good. No worries. But I was saying that I love reading your Show Me the Data Substack newsletter. Love everything you put out on Twitter. So obviously, of course, go follow. If you're watching this, you do already follow at John Boy Beats and check out his Substack, Show Me the Data. But if you aren't, definitely do that. But John, I'd like to talk about some of the things. I saw you on Neil Orfield's show, and there were some really interesting data nuggets. But I guess like an overarching question, is there, one or two like main data points that have stood out to you more than anything else this best ball draft season?
Yeah, I think so. Like I feel like the way that I like to draft, or the way that I like to just think about like best ball, is more through the lens of like ADP movement and trying to like understand the market kind of thing.
Right.
And almost like kind of trying to approach it maybe more in like an exploitative manner kind of thing, of just like figuring out what is going on with ADP and like assuming maybe the market's just kind of sharp and not really trying to figure out myself. And then just trying to see like, okay, whatever's happening with it, like what does that mean? How should I adjust stuff like that? And so I think the really big tool that I kind of added this year that I like love the most is what I would call like the ADP velocity. And what it's trying to do is it's trying to like measure like the players that are moving, are they like still moving, whether it's up or down,
Right.
or have they like kind of moved over the last few weeks and then now they've plateaued out a little bit. And I think that's, so I kind of create like 4 different categories with that velocity metric. And
Okay.
like the first one would be like the topped out is what I call it. So players that have like moved up in ADP, and then are like, have kind of like stopped and plateaued out for that period of time. And I basically look at the deltas over like a 2-ish week period, which actually ends up working pretty well. And I just kind of like try to figure out like, are they, so I'm just trying to pull it up. So right now, some good examples of this actually are like a Chase Brown, who's moved up quite a bit, but over the last like 4 or 5 days, he's pretty much stayed like leveled out. But he does have like almost over a full round ADP jump over the last week.
Right.
And then like I'm trying to look for another good example for this. Justin Fields is another good example. He's moved up like 2 rounds in the last 2 weeks, but now he's also really kind of plateaued, and actually he's starting to fall back a little bit with the Russ Wilson news.
Right.
And so I think like figuring out like, okay, these guys have stopped moving now. do I want to still buy in on them, or
Right.
am I like it, or is it like, are they now too pricey and now I want to stay away kind of thing?
So it's all kind of helping you make your decisions as to when you're kind of buying and selling, or pumping the brakes,
Yeah,
and that's very
yeah,
helpful and
exactly.
important, because that's what I've kind of honestly struggled with all during the draft season. Obviously, right now I'm like really focused on my exposures and pushing exposures to where I want to get certain places, and pumping the brakes on some guys that I need to, but I need to be better, honestly, at what you just said about really watching the market, and saying, okay, well, he's going down now, and now's the time to buy, or he might be coming back up, and making decisions really more based on that. I do need to be, honestly, that is a weakness of mine, I'd say, in the best ball say. So it's
Yeah,
I love reading your data, and we have Andrew in chat mentioned that you're one of his, he's fangirling. Andrew is a Fanspeak guy, but he said
yeah,
you're one of his favorite Twitter follows. Always great stats, fancy takes, spreadsheets are mint. Good to see Jamie in chat. Of course, we got Justin in chat. So yeah, absolutely. Love to see that. But yeah, no, I love reading, a lot of your data analysis and takes. And on your show with Neil Orfield, you had mentioned something about how your sims were basically showing the importance of maybe anchor RB this season. And correct me if I'm wrong, was that more like anchor RB if you can get it in round one, or was it just anchor RB because the prices have fallen? You like to be able to maybe get anchor
yeah,
in the first couple rounds.
yes.
Talk
So
about.
that was kind of some.
I'm actually obsessed with
I,
double anchor RB because I just love how much the
okay, yeah,
fallen, and you can get two running backs in the first 6 rounds. So talk a little bit about the anchor RB
yeah.
that your sims are showing.
Well, I think it's definitely a fun year to think through that because of the prices being so cheap now. And like the way that I like to think through some of the heavier RB starts is if you can still like kind of finish the draft in a manner that makes sense, where let's say you do take two running backs early, like a couple times I've been trying to figure out the like Christian McCaffrey plus Achan start,
Mm-hmm.
and then usually get like a neighbors or something as the first receiver, and then really just pushing running back like as late as possible, and
Right.
seeing how that works out. um, but I think there's plenty of like to that to be said of even some of the running backs going, later on, even into like rounds 4 and 5 and stuff like that, are
Mm-hmm.
probably in past years low, or round 2 or 3 running backs. And so
Right.
one of the things that I did is I had done like some simulation stuff, which is like, I don't thinking back, it's actually I probably made it more complicated than it needed to be, but I was really trying to figure out like the second half of the board because I felt like that was a little bit more. There was a little bit more decisions to do in the second half of the first round than in the first half. The first half you kind of like take CMC and then take all the good receivers, and then you got to see what's left.
Right.
And so I wanted to figure out, because one of the things, like one of the main theses that I had was like, okay, if you start with like 5 straight receivers, is that really smart? Because you only start 3, and like, yeah, the receivers drop off, but like at what point does it make sense to like bank off the receiver track, grab some of these really good running backs that are
Mm-hmm.
still there, and then hop back on the receiver track later,
Right.
because like those receivers are still roughly the same as they are in years past. And it did. So Brees and like Bijan really did stick out in that exercise, and it made a lot of sense to start with them and then
Right.
basically load up receiver. Um,
Yep.
and so that was pretty eye opening to me. There's some pretty good swings there of like starting running back, and it might have had, I think it had a little bit more to do with how the board was shaken out over that like 2 weeks or so that I was doing the exercise, and
Yeah.
there may not have been like the strongest other running back options that set themselves up on the back half of the board. And then one of the things that really kind of popped out to me was like the 3 quarterback stuff as well. And I
Uh-oh.
had
Do you like
tried
it, or do you
to.
not like it, or not like it? Because I'm a quarterback girl.
Yeah, I love 3 quarterbacks. I've
Oh,
been
thank God.
taking a lot
Okay.
more. Yeah, I've been taking a lot more of that this year.
I always
And
love
I
when
think it's
very smart people
yeah,
say whatever I'm doing is a good thing. So you're a very smart person, and I feel much better right now, John. So thank you.
yeah, I think it just helps you it helps provide you more upside and, like,
Hmm.
especially if you're like, obviously taking, like, 3 early quarterbacks doesn't make sense, but, like,
No,
there's
no,
some
have to be
pretty
cost of.
fun
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, there's some pretty fun options. I don't know about you, but like before training camp started and like news, started to shake up, that was really the time when it felt like the quarterbacks were the cheapest towards the end of
Yeah.
drafts and like
Hmm.
felt like almost all of them were kind of sitting in the round 17 and 18 land.
Yeah.
And then as like news starts to shake out on running backs and receivers and those the guys start to get a little bit more muddy than like the quarterbacks have all started to kind of scoot up a little bit. But yeah, I think it was about like a 25 point. So over the course of the season, it was about like a 25-point difference in when you add a third quarterback. And when you look at some of the stuff like Neil Farley did some stuff about
Right.
like the difference from like second place to third place in pods and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
it wasn't like I think like 50% of pods were like a 30-point difference or something. So it
Yeah.
was like relatively meaningful data to me of like, oh yeah, it probably makes sense to try to push a little bit more 3 QB. And so yeah, that's I've been doing that a lot. And I really like the 3 quarterbacks. Because like you don't really, especially when you're getting them so cheap, like you don't need them to like set the world on fire. You just need like a couple good weeks and hopefully it's good enough.
Right, absolutely. And I mean, I've always said that I like it for the reasons you said. I think it's helping, build out that padding to make sure that helping your advance rate. It's helping building that padding to hopefully help your advance rate to playoffs. But then once you're in playoffs, then you have 3 stack options to go off in playoffs. And I always
Mhm.
say, and this is John saying the 3 quarterback thing. It's not me pushing my propaganda, which I do each and every show, but no, but then in court in playoffs you have 3 options, and like who would have thought last year week 15 it was I think you needed Baker and Goff. It's
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
it sometimes it'll be the elites, but it's not always the elites, and so then you have
yeah,
3 options. I mean, the year Pat Crane won BBM, the finals, it was Tom Brady and Daniel Jones, which he happened to have both of
yeah,
them.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
so I don't think you would have thought, yeah, Tom Brady and Daniel Jones are definitely the guys I need this finals. So wild
yeah.
stuff. But no,
Who have you been targeting late in the draft since you're
my
big on 3 quarterback?
my favorite like late quarterback, and it depends what room you're in as to where you can get him, is Will Levis. I've been very bullish.
Oh, I
Yeah.
was gonna I was gonna agree with
Oh,
Will
thank
Levis.
goodness.
He's
Thank
like one of
goodness.
my favorites. We're pretty synced up there.
All right. Well, and I saw you tweet. We're going to get to a Jordan Love question. I'm very high. I saw you tweeted some exposures. I'm at about 10% Jordan Love, and I'm like, I need more Jordan Love. This is not acceptable.
Yeah,
I need more. I'm so bullish on the Packers and Jordan Love. So, no, but Levis and the Titans, I've all draft season been like very, very, very bullish on them, and very much have thought all draft season they've been underpriced, and they have that
yeah,
potential to be that breakout offense. I love the coaching change and just so
yeah,
hopeful for that
yeah,
offense. So if the Titans have a good of the season, I mean, they don't even have to have a Texans like season, but if the Titans have a good season, it sounds like John and I will be happy. So yeah,
yeah.
no, that's
I'll
my
I'll be really happy if Hopkins comes back healthy soonish
yes,
because I had a
yes.
lot of him. I
Are
was
you buying the
definitely
dip? Are
favoring
you buying the
him
dip right now
over
on you?
Ridley. I feel like I want to hear like something slightly positive,
Yeah,
even
yeah,
though it was only like it's like I feel like it's one of those injuries where like they talked about it when he got hurt, and then I haven't heard anything. I've also been like super busy at work, so I maybe haven't been checking everything as hardcore as I usually would do. But it seems like it's been a little bit quiet, and that makes me a little bit nervous with the older guys. Like I'd love to see like something about like he's on track to play week 2 or something, and then
yeah.
I'd probably go all the way back in.
Right.
But yeah, I am. It is kind of uncomfortable now, like that tier of wide receivers where like usually you kind of wanted to get like I usually felt good like having 4 by the group of like Keon Coleman, JSN, like Jordan
Same.
Addison, like those
Mm-hmm.
kind of guys. And I feel like that group is like starting to feel a little bit not as great because like
Yeah.
Coleman and Thomas weren't having great camps, and then all of a sudden now they kind of like are having good
Now they
camps.
kind
And
of
then like
are. It's feeling a little better
yeah,
there. Yeah. Uh-huh.
yeah, and then like McConkey was hurt, but I think he's good at it. And
Yeah.
then
Oh, I have a lot of McConkey.
Addison
So
is like a lot going on with him and Hopkins, and so now you get to there and I have three receivers, and I'm like, should I take Hopkins or like should I keep pushing him? It's getting a little bit harder. So I'm definitely starting to try to take a little bit more wide receiver early stance.
right. Yeah. We have a question in chat. Speaking receivers, Love or Caleb for Dynasty? I know this is a best ball, but I'm not a Dynasty girl. Do you have any takes on that?
I mean, I feel like I don't know what the context is, but I feel like Caleb would be the right pick for Dynasty just because I mean I think he's probably a better prospect than Love, and so I would think that he's the right pick going forward. But I do have my hot take for Jordan Love this year is that he will be getting drafted ahead of CJ Stroud in next year's BBM. That's my hot take.
I
So
don't think that's that. I agree with you. I think that middle tier of, I mean, again, I like the elite quarterbacks, and I think there's some good value quarterbacks like Will Levis, which is why I like the three quarterback thing. But another reason I like the three quarterback is I don't mind like starting at like that Dak Love range and then getting like a Herbert, I think, and then the Achilles twins. There. I just think all these guys from Dak and Herbert. Sorry about my dog coughing and having issues, but are all just like kind of criminally underpriced. Burrow, Dak, Love, Purdy, and then you go down into like the Herbert, Cousins, Rogers, and you get to the like the Levis, and do we get a Bryce Young breakout? And so, yeah, that's another reason I like doing that, because especially if you can get three of those guys, it just feels really strong. And I don't think that's too crazy a hot take at all. I think there's a definite potential that Love could be very highly drafted next year. So yeah, I saw your tweet and I was going to refer to that. Maybe we shoot for a left team, but
yeah. No, I'd be down. I mean, so one of the context for that is I was actually looking at it because I was looking through the lens of I included at like the end of the newsletter today where I was looking through the lens of the looking through draft capital for like the first X amount of players on a given team. And so like the top four players drafted the top five players, six players, seven players. Because one of the things that I like because I'm so like vocal about the Packers that I hear a lot of people on Twitter and comments and stuff like, oh, are they I feel like they all can't pay off their ADPs and yada yada yada. And really when you like look at it from a draft capital standpoint and kind of use like Leone's little curve and all that, there's the Packers are like kind of like middle of the road when it comes to that. I think when you look at their top seven players, they're like by ADP, they're like 13th or something when you total up all the draft capital. And when I was looking at the teams that were above them, it's like the 5 teams that have, like, elite quarterbacks. So, you know, basically Hurts, Lamar, Mahomes, Josh Allen, and then Stroud. Definitely a Wick stan. He's my highest drafted player. So big on Wicks. And so it's the 5 elite quarterbacks, and I was kinda saying, like, the 5 elite quarterbacks because they get drafted so early and they also have like pieces that get drafted early. When you think through the lens of like, can they pay off ADP? It's probably hard for an elite quarterback plus multiple pieces to pay off ADP. Like they really have to have like a really elite year for multiple pieces, right? You could probably get like the one and the one, but it's a little bit harder in that set. But they also like usually have the bigger ceiling. So, it's kind of, I don't know, it's not the craziest thing to be taking them. And then the next tier was like the teams that have cheaper quarterbacks than Love, but have really expensive position players. And so it was, like the Dolphins, the Lions, the Niners, a few other teams in there. I can't remember off the top of my head, but and so my argument was like, oh well, those teams like the quarterback will, has a good option or probably has a good chance to pay off his ADP because the quarterback's a lot cheaper. But then multiple of the skill position players paying off their ADP maybe is a little bit harder, right? Like all 3 Dolphins paying off first 2 round ADP, like that seems a little bit tougher to think through it and relatively speaking in my analysis here. And so then the like last bucket was more closer to where the Packers were, where it was like the Cardinals and the Bengals, where they have like one expensive piece and then like a couple, like if you include like Higgins and McBride in like the fourth round, and then their QBs are also like a little bit cheaper. And so I was like, yeah, that makes more sense. Like I could see an argument where Harrison, McBride, and Kyler all do really well this year because of kind of where they're where they're kind of drafted at. And then then the Packers was like the next tier there, where Love is even cheaper than Kyler and Burrow, and then all their position players are even cheaper as well. And so like it just that seems like even more reason that like Love plus multiple Packers could pay off the ADP, especially if they're supposed to be, a top 8 offense or so, like they're probably projected to be. So I don't know. I don't know if that was just me biasly trying to convince myself to keep drafting Packers, but it was a pretty fun exercise to look at.
Well, it sells me further. I have plenty of Josh Jacobs too, actually, but plenty,
Yeah, yeah.
10% love, but really, really, really want more. So I saw your tweet today and I thought, wow, what a good day to be drafting with John.
There we
So
go.
I'm gonna pull over the draft, and I do have to apologize. I will put my computer on mute anytime you are
Oh, no
talking, because
worries.
my dog is absolutely losing his mind with some
No
stomach
worries.
issues. So I'm going to bring over. And anybody who wants to draft with us, we are obviously, I'm going to bring it up on or draft on my phone, because I've obviously had this issue before where we are not able to get in. So anybody who would like to draft with John and I are going to draft a team together. If you would like to jump in a BBM with us, I'm going to jump in 3, 2, 1. I'm hitting enter. And there's 5 more to start. So if you would like to join us,
Here we go.
And let me pull this up. And we will get going here. As you can see, I got a bunch of slows going.
You do have a bunch of slows. Oh man, I have a lot too. I have a lot. I'm nearing the end. I've got a lot of eliminators and slow puppies still going. So
Okay, this is so. Let's
I
see.
love the
Yeah,
Jake shout out on March Madness. That's awesome.
Yeah, we got Jake in here. He says, the legendary March Madness run. Multiple people saying you're one of the favorite follows. You're one of my favorite follows. So I was so excited to get you on, but we got a lot of fans of John Boy Beats in here tonight, and that's exciting. So so draft is starting in less than a minute here. We're at the 3 spot, John. Let's see. We've got Bruni. At the 7 spot, we have No Fan, who joins us for a lot of drafts. Good to see you at the 10 spot. And I know I saw Andrew. Andrew's at the 8 spot. If you are in this draft and I did not say your name, let me know what number you're at. But yeah, so at the 3 spot, do you pretty much go chalk do Tyreek Hill most of the time?
Yeah, for sure. I think he's a great pick there. The only slight bummer I have is I love Achane so much. I'm trying to get like really overweight on Achane here, and
I saw that in your tweet too. I
feels
like that too.
feels kind of weird going Hill and Achane. Like I don't know. I feel like I literally just made the argument to not do that because it's harder for them to both pay it off. But who knows?
Well, I assume you've done that some, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I have as well. And I don't typically do that either, but that is one offense where, my goodness, they're just, I mean, we saw
we
some
get
of
Lamb. There we go.
Wow.
Even
Yeah.
better.
How about that? Now we can shoot for Achane because it's mixing it up here. So it goes McCaffrey, Hill, we get Lamb and Chase, and we'll pull over the board now. So what percent are you on Achane then?
I think I've got like about 17% or something. I've been taking him as early as like 18 or 19. And parent, dude, I'm right there with you, Andrew. I honestly, I want to go on like the Best Ball Explorer and throw my all my stuff in there because they show like
they show how many how many times you get each spot. Yeah, I just saw that the other day.
So back weighted to the end. Like I was just looking the other night because I was like, man, I haven't had like I don't know, the back half just feels, it's like such a bummer, especially when you get to like the 3-4 turn and I'm like just drafting Zay Flowers and Nico Collins, or I mean Stephon Diggs again or something. And but I had 10 straight BBMs that I was over the 7th pick. I was the 7th pick or later. I'm like, come on. Like,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
brutal.
No, it's funny. Andrew does shows, and it's like anytime he's on a stream, whether he's guesting in a stream like he is now or live like he's streaming, he always gets that. I mean, I usually see him in like the 10 to 12 spot. So yeah. Oh, we do have a 12 spot in here. We've got Tom
Nice.
at the 12 spot. So excited to be able to join and learn. If you can hear over my dog, I again apologize to anybody for the audio issues. And then we got Ryan Hodge in chat. John Boy, Data
Nice.
Fridays are very good. Absolutely. Wow, look, Bruni got Bijan. We were talking about him at 7, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
I was in my first the Chow Chow today. The first Chow Chow I was in, I saw someone took Bijan at 3, and I thought, go get your guy. I get it,
Yeah. That contest, because I do a contest comparison tool thing, and
yes, I love that. I love your data on that.
That contest looks really good.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's like one of the highest rated ones, like kind of right near BBM.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited. I kept hitting up Numi in chat and just be like, I love the $50 like price point, because especially because I'm like, I only have like 20 BBMs left, and I don't know if I have it in me to like fire a bunch of puppies. Like now I'm just like, I'm honestly kind of getting towards the end where I want to just take it casually into the start of the season and not feel like I need to rip off like 400 drafts over the next 3 weeks. So
we also have Lewis at the 11 spot. So we got a lot in here. This is fun. Okay, so I queued A-Chan up and he is there. You want to go for it?
That's perfect. Yeah,
okay,
that's
awesome.
Exactly who I would take that.
Go get our guys, John. So we got A-Chan and Lamb to start. I like that. Coming up, I'll keep it up and then I'll go over to the board for 27. Obviously, top of the board. I always love Cup if I can get him in. The third, didn't think that would happen, but Barkley, Adams, Evans, Ayuk, Kyron Williams, Devonta Smith at the top of the board. Or we could scroll down if there's others that you like. Who do you like to target in this range?
This is how little I've been at this side of the table. Is Neighbors just screaming up? Is he
Did he already go? Well, I was so focused on yes, he went at 19. Yeah, that's what I was talking with someone on Twitter, and I was like, they were saying Neighbors still going in third. I was like, I don't think I've seen Neighbors in the third lately. And in fact, I've seen him more in the late teens and 20s. So so we are 2 away. Who is your favorite target, running back or receiver in this area? Uh-oh, did I lose your audio?
Yeah, sorry. I don't know what keeps happening. I think it keeps connecting to my phone somehow.
I
like Smith here because then we get the week 17.
Yep. I love that. I love that correlation. Okay, so let's grab that. And then I'll pull it now for the board over because we've got a lot of folks in chat again, I believe. I think I know 7, 8, 10, I think 10, 11, 12, and then we're at 3. So nice. Yeah, a lot of folks in chat. Love to see it.
Well, we don't have to worry about anybody sniping us here at our half of the board. That's
it looks like they're all.
They can all fight amongst each other.
I was going to say they can all fight amongst each other. That's right. Absolutely. Well, I like our start, John, with Liam Achane and Devonta Smith. And actually, I'm going to, on another window, I have Best Ball Overlay. I'm just curious if I have that combo yet. So as you know, check out Best Ball Overlay. bestballoverlay.com. Use code Fanspeak. You can get $10 off per month for just $20 a month. Obviously, it's giving me the overlay options to see correlations, but what's nice is it lets me see combinations and all sorts of other data as well. So I'm actually just curious on that. To start draft season, I talked about Best Ball Overlay helped me realize I had like 40% Kyron on my Lamb team. So that's come down.
Nice.
So yeah, so I'm balancing that out. But let me see. So I do have 4 Lamb Achane teams. Let me see how many I have with Devonta Smith. I have just 2, and one is a. Let me move down the board here. let's see. So I have two. One I then did like a Lamar Andrews on the other turn, and then one I had done. Let's see. Looks like I had done kind of a double hero. I done a chain Pacheco. Pacheco's another favorite of mine. So
Yeah,
kind of
he's
my first
going.
one.
He's been screaming up.
He's been screaming up.
He's a
Yeah.
third rounder now.
Yep.
I don't
Yep.
know if I fully understand why he's going up, but I guess
I
they're
don't know.
just getting
I'm
running back
guessing
heavy.
because there's nobody else threatening. Nobody's come into
Yeah.
camp. Obviously, then
Yeah.
people now are souring on CEH even as the number 2. There's nobody even stepping up in the number 3 role, so it's kind of just his role.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I do love the Andrews Lamar at the turn. I feel like I've probably anecdotally speaking have like feel like I have 10 teams that start like exactly what we just did right now with Lamar Andrews and or Lamar and Andrews. But it just feels so good to get that like locked in. You like look at like if we get Lamar and Andrews on this team, you just look at those 5 and it's like this could definitely score a lot of points at any given week.
Right. Yeah. It's a hell of a 5-star, and you're hitting it at all the different positions too, like you said. So we can certainly do that. Again, I only have one other team like that, and that's what's nice about Best Ball Overlay, to show me that kind of information,
Cool.
and I can also see what I did on that Lamar Andrews team as well, which is nice. So we will see. We are
the first tight end off the board there by Iceman.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and yeah, he's in chat. He starts Harrison, Waddle. And yeah, I don't mind pulling up Waddle. I think, in the second round, go get your guys, Cooper and McBride. And then it went Hurt, the little running quarterbacks with Hurts, Allen, Mahomes. Noel Fan got Josh Allen. Andrew got Higgins, and Bruni got Laporta. And it looks like Lamar will be there if JR11318 does not take him. So is that what you would like to do, and do that combo? If yes, it did come to us.
Probably would actually push. I would probably do Andrews oh yeah, I would do Andrews first. I usually do Andrews first. Because I'm not as mad if I get sniped on Lamar that way.
Okay.
And I feel like it usually comes around like that.
Sure. Yeah, we're taking his top weapon that we're 3 away, so we got Lamar there. If Lamar was taken, what do you like to do here? We could set up a Packers, because I don't mind stacking the Packers at multiple positions with Jacobs.
You got a lot of Jacobs for sure.
Yeah. My 20%.
You said you liked them.
Yeah, I don't hide. The percentages just show it all. I let the cards out. So.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I think because I don't love Pickens, especially with the Ayuk stuff still hanging out there. I really don't love Kirk and McLaurin that much. And so I usually even scroll down to like Keenan or I think it's usually like Keenan's.
I love it. As you can see, I love Ridley. 22%.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna get one of them because we're up in 1. And,
there we go.
Lamar. Okay, so Jacobs goes, and we will take Lamar. Great. Yeah, and I need more Lamar shares. I'm trying to get more of those elites. I do have. I'm pretty high because when I get that back half of the, let me pull up the board. Sorry, I get talking sometimes. And then when I get that back half of like that, 9 to 12, I'll a lot of times at that turn, similar to what the folks did there, I will do, Hurts or Allen. So I have 10% each of them. I think I'm around 9% Mahomes. But because when I'm on this side of the board, I typically do like to hit, and I'm doing a lot of double anchor. It's not really like a Lamar thing. It's more how much I like a Henry that I like Derrick Henry on the same team. I like the Pacheco. I like if Jacobs is falling to the 5th. When we were getting Pacheco, Henry in the 3rd is still going there. When we were getting Pacheco in the 4th, and Jacobs in the 5th, I sometimes am getting a combination of 2, and I think because of that's made Lamar less. So it's good to get more exposure. Just curious what I did on that particular team. I ended up. It was kind of a mixed bag after that, kind of toggling between running back and receiver there. So nothing too crazy. Nothing that I am like overweight of any one player that I need to stay away from or anything. So
nice. What's
So
have you been able to get like what's your take on Mahomes lately? Because I feel like it's been hard. There was like a sweet spot where there was a really sweet spot where you could pull off easy double Mahomes teams, and then
mhm,
like I think I was a little bit late to the party, and then I started
yeah,
trying to get it, and where I could still get some Rice and some Worthy, and usually Hollywood was going earlier, and then
right.
now I feel like it's pretty hard to stack Mahomes, because it's just
You
like,
might need to
yeah, I don't
reach
know.
or I mean, now that Hollywood falls, you could do that. But
Yeah, you
now
could
that
do that, but I'm pretty scared of the Hollywood injury.
yeah, it,
It just doesn't sound good. And like even I feel like Andy Reid's like not even that stoked about it either. Just kind of saying like, yeah, we'll see if he's even ready for the start of the season and stuff like
yeah,
that.
definitely sounds from everything I've read and heard, it sounds like week one sounds like a no-go. I think we'd be lucky for week two. It sounds like return could be week 2 or 3 is
Yeah.
kind of what I've gleaned and gathered. I know Established the Run did a show with Stefania Bell. And I
Oh,
thought, and
nice.
the one thing, and I thought that's what they kind of gathered was maybe like a week 2 or 3 return. The one positive thing was, unlike some other injuries, despite it being like a kind of freakish injury, that you should be able to return to play without any major risk
Oh, yeah.
of re. So that part was at least hopeful.
Yeah, that's
Um,
good.
so yeah, Bruni said he heard week 3 too. So yeah, you could do that because yeah, now Rice has skyrocketed up, obviously, because we're not hearing any news on that. You could kind of get
Yeah.
Worthy, I believe, has gone up, and then Hollywood's fallen. So yeah, I think I was mostly taking like Mahomes Hollywood when Hollywood was so much higher. And now I probably need to
Yeah,
mix up my
yeah.
Mahomes stacks a little bit better. Okay, so we are coming back around. So we'll be up at the 6-7 turn at 70 and 75. And we started 1-1-2-1. So Lamar, A-Chain, Lamb, Devonta Smith, Mark Andrews. So at the top of the board here, obviously Anthony Richardson is still there, but we've got Rashad White, Odunze, Hollywood Brown, obviously falling. Christian Watson, we got a Packers player there.
Yeah.
Kamara and Lad McConkey, and of course we can scroll down. Who are you
I would
liking most?
probably favor Odunze and Watson. Probably Watson first if he's there, just because the Packers bias. But
Hey,
you only have 4%, so.
I
But
only
yeah, let's go
4% of
Watson.
Dunze, but hey, we've been talking about the Packers here. I say
That's
we
true.
go
That's
get
true.
go
We
get
got to
some
do it.
Packers. Yeah,
We got to do
let's
it.
do that. And we'll be back up in 5 picks, so we can see if Dunze is still there, or is there anybody else on the board after that? You've got again Fallen Hollywood, McConkey, JSN, Brian Thomas, Keon Coleman. Then you got some running backs that I mean it's a little late, but I love James Conner.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I have been trying to get some more Connor. I feel like I do want to think through because I feel like that group of four, I feel like I want to push out on Hollywood, but McConkey, Thomas, Coleman, JMO,
I love
or
JMO
not
too.
JMO, sorry, not JMO.
Okay,
Um,
my 21% Jameson Williams.
no, I actually like JMO, but um,
I've gotten a
I feel
little
like
happy with
that's a
Jameson
little
Williams all
early
season.
for him.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. Yeah, he's still, even though he's risen, throughout draft season, he's still more 82 in the 80s. Okay, so you like McConkey, Coleman, anybody else receiver wise?
I think that would be it.
I mean, yeah, because anything else would be a bit of a reach.
We don't have any. Do we have any? We don't have any
Okay, so
really
Connor
core
went
names
too.
here.
So,
Yeah, I don't love
um,
Kamara. I feel like
yeah,
McConkey
I
is a
know.
good pick. I'm not really too scared of it, and I like trying to get some Herbert
Yep,
later on like that.
yep.
Herbert on this team is a pretty fun one. Herbert and
Absolutely.
Lamar.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've been saying it all most of this draft season too. I mean, I know we got the plantar fascia, I can't pronounce it, but fasciitis or
Yeah,
but that Herbert's dealing with. I think he came out of the boot. Seems like they're playing it safe. I understand the risk of that he's going to be kind of re-aggravating it, playing through pain, but I think all these guys are playing through pain and getting shots and having
yeah,
to deal with it, as long as it's not something major. It sounds like it could just be like a nagging thing for him and a pain tolerance
yeah.
thing, but So I'm not, I guess that's my way of, I've been buying the dip and not letting it scare me off of Herbert. I also think it's crazy that we're just getting Herbert in like the 140s. It's just like mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those like narratives where people have pushed the narrative a little too far. Okay, this is going to be a run heavy offense and he lost his weapons. Sure. But what if Ladd McConkey is the real deal and Josh Palmer has been, very actually kind of steady Eddie functional receiver for him. And who knows, maybe these old Ravens running backs are healthier and can still like just keep that offense moving. So I'm very,
well, that's
very,
the thing. It's like everybody was scared. It's like, oh, it's going to be a run first offense with Harbaugh. And it's like, well, like, I don't know, the running backs all kind of suck.
right.
I mean, I feel like Gus is the first off the board, but like, I don't even know if there's been like a single tweet about him the whole offseason. He's just kind of like there. And then, Dobbins has been the one that's moving up lately. And I'm like, if a guy that has 2 torn Achilles is going to end up beating me, then, it is what it is. Like, that's just not really a bet that I'm going to make. And so it's like, I don't know. And then Kamani Vidal's like the other one. It's like now, like, reports are he's like, might not even make the team. And I'm like, okay, well, like, if everybody's scared of the running backs, but we don't know who to draft for the running backs, well, let's
just draft Herbert.
Swings on the passing game.
Yeah, no. And it's weird because, we have McConkey, and if the Palmer drafter passes up on Herbert, you can see him fall even past his ADP sometimes. Now, it depends on the rooms you're in, obviously. Sometimes I've seen him go unstacked and that kind of stuff. But I have seen some rooms where, like, if the other, whether you have Palmer and the McConkey drafter passes him up, or we have McConkey and the Palmer drafters pass, you can get him at even better value, which is just absolutely wild to me. Let's check in and see what the guys in the draft are doing. So at the let's see what Bruni's 7 spot. Bruni's last couple picks: Christian Kirk, Chris Godwin, Jamison Williams. Andrew got Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen, Keon Coleman. Noel Fan went Jaden Reed, another Packers guy, David Montgomery, Evan Ingram on the clock now. At the 11th spot, we got he got Worthy, who is now going pretty solidly in the 5th round. Kyle Pitts, Alvin Kamara, Zamir White, and Iceman at the 12th spot. Got Ridley, who I absolutely love. Kyler Murray, Ramondre, and Najee. I like that combo of running backs there. So coming back around here at 8-9, we'll be at 94, 96, or excuse me, 99. So we got a 1-1-4-1 going. I mean, there is love, but I'm assuming if we wanted to do 3 quarterbacks, that's probably a bit much unless he fell. But what stands out to you here?
Probably a running back. I mean,
unfortunately, Mostert win. I do like taking Mostert.
Yeah, I mean, we have Achane, so it's kind
of. Oh, that's right.
I
had a brain freeze there. Sorry about that. Yeah, no, right. I think I've done that once. I think I've done that one time. I did.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like interesting to think about, but then I'm like, I don't know. Maybe if Achane wasn't a second rounder, then I'd do it. But I feel like when he's a second rounder, you're just like, all right, I want him to score all the points.
Yeah.
I like Brooks, but I don't know if he goes.
He just went. Okay, so at the top of the round is the rising Chase Brown, Tony Pollard, Zach Moss, Brian Robinson, and then receivers, you got that Samuel Hopkins, Sutton.
I think Chase Brown is totally fine here. I don't have any problems chasing him up.
I don't have much, so I need more, quite honestly, of this. I only have 3% Moss. I've kind of been crippled on the, like kind of paralyzed as to what to do with the Bengals running backs, and have just kind of leaned into others. And I am trying to get some more there. So we are going to be back up in 4 picks. So now we have a 1-2-4-1. And I mean, this is a kind of a sweet spot for some quarterbacks, but then you've got Samuel, Hopkins, Sutton, Njoku, Dubs, another Packers guy, Pollard. What do you like here? Love does go at 95, which isn't surprising.
I feel like I would think either Dubs or a running back.
I like that. What's been your take on I was just going to say Pollard, since we talked about
Yeah,
the
I was gonna
Tennessee
say
offense.
Pollard too.
What's your take on Brian Robinson?
Oh, there goes Dubs.
Oh, geez.
I like Robinson actually. I
I
like
mean, there is
Robinson
still
a lot. I think
Tajay Spears too from Tennessee, so there's that. If you wanted to
yeah.
stick with the Tennessee theme,
What receivers are left?
so we do have Hopkins, who he's now fallen 10 picks past ADP, so I'll throw him in the queue.
Yeah, I kind of like Hopkins. I feel like we should take Hopkins and then take Levis late because we talked about him.
Yeah, I like that. You're not gonna talk me out of that. I Levis is my. Let's see, where am I at on my Levis exposure? 20% Levis.
Nice.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
because
good.
again, I'm taking him almost always as my third quarterback. So
Yeah.
So we'll cue that up for later. Let's bring the board back over here. So who did the Jordan Love drafter? Did he we got Josh Jacobs. Maybe he'll try to get some Wicks. Oh no, he got Dub. He's the one that got Dub.
Oh, we
Sorry
got Dubs.
yeah. So that's nice. He was
yeah,
able
that
to
makes
get,
sense. That's a pretty
nice stack
fun
to
one.
get Jacobs. I like being able to attack a team that you just love and think is going to be a top 5-10 scoring offense at multiple positions. So especially when you can spread that draft capital out like that too.
That's the nice thing about Love too, is like you can either take Reed and Watson early and try to pair it with them, or you can also, which I probably don't do enough of, just like grabbing him and then doing this, like grabbing Dubs and then hoping Wicks falls or something like that. Or even just tacking on Musgrave or Kraft or whatever. I mean, there's like just a billion Packers. Take your pick.
Yeah. So Jamie talked about Sutton, number one in that offense. I've taken some Sutton. I'd have to look at my percentage. And Brian Robinson, great option for top 25. Yeah, I have a good bit of both Robinson and Eckler. What's your take on? I don't know if any data kind of points you one way or another on this, but what's your take on like the handcuff in this like mid-tier range? Like if you're able to get like a Moss Chase Brown or a Brian Robinson Eckler on the same team, what's your take on that when you don't have to spend a lot for both of them, the running backs?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think I'd
like to do more of that in this last couple weeks.
Yeah, I think especially this year because one of the things I feel like about this year is you can do like, you can just draft less running backs in general this year. I mean, I don't know the numbers, but I would say I'm probably like 90% of my teams end with 5 running backs. And
yeah,
like,
that's the same with me.
I usually look at them and I'm like, that seems like a pretty good team, you know? And so it's like, you know, I'm never having 5 and I'm like, I need like one more. Like I'm like, yeah, that seems like it's going to be fine. And so from when I think about it like that, it's like, well, then if you do especially on the cheap guys and you grab both of them, because there's plenty that go and like, from rounds 8 to 11 or whatever, there's like probably 4 different combos of two players. I think that's great. And then you can almost look at it like you could even still stop at 5 and then think of it through like more of the hyper fragile that you actually just have like 4 running backs.
Right.
It's just like for sure gonna do. I think it's probably I don't know. I can't tell if it's like the Chase Brown and the Zach Moss is like better, where it's one of them's more contingent. Like I'm assuming if Chase Brown's going to be the guy that is going to run away with the job, then he's probably going to have bigger weeks, and Moss is more the contingent guy versus like the Pollard and the Spears, where it sounds like those guys are just going to ping pong back and forth.
Yeah, like a real 1A, 1B situation.
Yeah.
Maybe hot
So,
hand,
like,
yeah.
It almost seems to me like that maybe is like less good, but I don't know. That's just like a gut feeling. It's like more so if I'm thinking through like rounds, or like the playoff weeks, right? If Pollard goes off one, like what are the odds that Pollard goes off one week and then Spears goes off the other week? Like, I don't know, maybe it's good, but I'd probably rather just bet on like Spears going off 2 weeks in a row or something, and then like having a different player, to pair with them. I don't know. It's those ones always make my head hurt a little bit. I'm like,
I know it's been something
better.
I've been thinking about more, just because there's these running back rooms where they both have standalone value, and then if something happened to one of them, like you said, then it would kind of become like a hyper fragile build, and then you'd have like an insane contingent value, and you didn't pay a lot for it. So I've been thinking about doing that a little bit more here in these last couple of weeks, especially in BBM, with that like handcuff of these and in this range of the running back prices too. So we'll see. It's honestly hard to make it fall. It's easy to say, but it's hard to get a Brian Robinson, Eckler, and a Moss and Chase Brown. It's easy to say, but it's hard to actually. Oh, we were back on the clock. So we're not taking Will Levis here. We're at 118. So we probably do. We only have 2 running backs. I mean, what's your take on Corum, Ford? Sorry, I didn't. Corum, Ford, Edwards. I do not love Benson, as you can tell by my 0.
Yeah, I don't have any. I think I probably. I would.
Corum or Ford?
I think Corum is a better play. I think, mostly because I'm decently in on Nick Chubb, and I think. Well, I don't know. I just think
we're coming back up, so we could go back to back running back here. I wouldn't.
I wouldn't hate that at all.
And we have both the Browns running backs available. So as you can see, I'm not very high on the Browns passing game, which I know they could be more pass heavy by investing with what they've invested in the passing game. But I'm just so much higher in the run game, and I know what I'm aware what Nick Chubb's coming back from. But again, I'm always taking Nick Chubb as like my 4th running back usually. To me, it's kind of like building like almost like I'm similar to you. I usually build 5 running back teams. And so if I take a Nick Chubb team, it's almost like a hyper fragile build with like a Nick Chubb upside.
Yeah.
So
what receivers are we looking
Oh yeah, we should definitely take a look at that as well. We do have Brandon Cooks, who I always like anything access to Dallas passing game. And then speaking of, I have 0 Judy, but Judy Mitchell Polk a little further down.
Yeah, I think no AD Mitchell, huh?
I was taking take some Pittman, was taking some more Downs, and then Downs gets hurt. Now I sometimes take him at falling value, but high ankles sprains do make me nervous. So Tua goes there, and we do have both the Browns running backs at our disposal here. I kind of like that idea. Different bye week as well, because we do have 2 week 6s. So what's your thought? I'll let you pick.
I like Chubb more than Ford. I would take Chubb.
And we'll have at least 5. We'll have 5 running backs. So again, it's a
especially because I feel like with Corum, like maybe Corum is more of like maybe if we're actually thinking through that, Corum and Ford pair up a little bit better, because you're thinking like Ford is better at the beginning, and then Corum is maybe in there if Kyron gets hurt or something. But like I don't know, when I look at like, because we have Achane, and then we have who else did we take a running back before? I forget.
So we have Achane, Chase Brown, Corum, Nick Chubb.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just feel like there's some of that stuff of like trying to balance out the team and all that, but then I'm also like, okay, well, if we have Achane and Chase Brown, like those are theoretically, from what everybody's saying, going to be 2 studs to get us going out of the gates. And so now it's just like, let's just start trying to build towards the end of the season.
I was just looking, I was like, where did Herbert go? I want to queue up Herbert. And good old Justin on our team, Justin takes him because he had Josh Palmer. And so he said, I'm not letting him slide back to her. He
got Palmer pretty late, actually.
He got Palmer at 114 and then was able to go ahead and stack him. So I like that. So our guys in the chat, Justin went Aaron Jones, Cortland Sutton, Josh Palmer, Justin Herbert stack. And then Andrew went Caleb Williams, Dak Prescott at 113. Holy shit. He got 89, Ferguson at 89, and then Prescott at 113. That's an insane value. I love that. And then the fact that you already had, like, sometimes I'll just scoop Dak if he falls that far, because I love the Dallas passing game, and I'll just try my darndest to get, Cooks or Tolbert after. But yeah, he had it, and then it fell one. That's really nice. And then Jerry Jeudy, and then let's see, Noel Fan went DeAndre Swift, Brian Robinson, Trevor Lawrence, Brandon Cooks, and 11 spot, Zamir White, Zach Moss, Dallas Goedert, and Eckler, and then Iceman at the 12 spot, Tajay Spears. He gets Wicks there, and he's on the clock now. Elliott, and coming around here at the 12 turn, and Polk. So, but I like our start. We have a 1-4. Let me see. 1-4-5-1. And I like that. I talk about, like, I like kind of starting like 1-3-5-1, 1-4-5-1, that first 10, 11 rounds, because then it feels like it leaves your optionality open,
Yeah, for sure.
So, So yeah, we'll be back up at 12 and 13 at 142 and 147. Obviously, that's not a Levis range. Maybe we can find another potential stack in there, since we did talk about the 3 quarterbacks. Potentially another quarterback that then we could stack up later as well in this area. Another one that I look at in this area, if I'm looking for another quarterback stack, and I don't know about you, how much Rodgers and Cousins do you have? Sometimes I look at, at the 11 spot, they got Mooney, and it depends like where you're at and what you're able to do. But I'll, if I'm just wanting another stack, I don't mind getting like a Mooney Cousins or like a Mike Williams, Aaron Rodgers, Ty Conklin type deal. How much of those quarterbacks?
I definitely do more Jets.
I love the Jets stacks. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Rodgers might actually be almost my highest quarterback.
He's mine. Wow, we're in lockstep with a lot here. This is making me feel good here, John.
Yeah, I feel like there's like, there's the bias against Rodgers. Like some people just hate him for, whatever, ayahuasca or something, and then and then like also just people just think he's just gonna be bad this year. And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like at the cost of a 13th, 14th round pick, like he's probably going to be fine. Like he was going in like the 15th, 16th round sometimes at the earlier in the off season. So yeah, I mean Mike Williams.
I queued him up to we're talking about it, and it might, if he falls to us, we might be able to pull that off.
Yeah,
so
do
you want to do that?
I am not sure why Williams is not going higher.
Yeah, especially now that he's off the pup list. I think it could be like a ramp up period for sure, but so Rodgers is at 158, but I doubt he'd come back to us. So it's up to you if you wanted to go get that second stack now, or if you wanted to address something else. I mean, I think with Andrews, we don't have like a pressure to address tight end or anything. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and the late tight ends are getting nicer by the day, I think.
Yeah. There's some late ones that I need to get more exposure to now that there's some kind of ones emerging. So
yeah, no, I think this is a great spot to grab Rodgers if he makes it. He should, hopefully.
Yeah, he should. But yeah, I like that. And then I don't know if he'd fall back to us, but I've done plenty of the Rodgers, Mike Williams, Conklin. Rodgers
also like Braylon Allen a lot.
That's another that could be a fifth
tack on with the Jets.
Right.
I just moved him like way up my ranks today because let's take Rodgers.
You fine? Okay, good. Great. So we got our 2 stacks and we have a third potential. So and we've spaced it out. We went Lamar in the 4th, 5th. Well, Andrews Lamar. So Lamar in the 5th. And then we waited obviously till the 13th. And then, maybe around the 15th, fingers crossed. So, I think that's the way. I think people kind of balk at the 3 quarterback thing when you have like a Lamar elite quarterback type situation. But with the elites going much later than last year, we were having to pay 1st, 2nd, 3rd for elites last year.
Yeah.
And we're getting them 4th, 5th
totally fine
this year. Yeah, that's why. And it's not like we did like, 5th, 9th, 12th, we're doing like 5th, 13th, and 15th or something like that. So I think
especially like, I think this part of the draft right here is like where you have to be the most like disciplined at this point of the season, because I feel like there's actually a lot of like landmines in this area of players who are just kind of like stuck here, but like probably shouldn't be. Maybe we're like earlier picks and like fell a couple rounds, and now they're just like hanging out in the 16th round. It's like, well, that's like almost the worst type of player. It's like they're going to be like 100% owned, but like they just don't really have that great of a ceiling because like they've just been like, people just don't want to like push them all the way off the board, and they're like, we'll just keep like them in this weird purgatory area. And so I feel like there's like a ton of players in this area that I'm just like, I like don't even want them in my ranks.
Okay, who are your purgatory? I'm curious now. Who are your like purgatory?
Yeah, I don't know. You'd have to go to the list so I could cruise through it. But like, I don't know. Wandale kind of sticks out to me a little bit of one of those. like Adam Thielen for sure.
Oh,
Demarcus Robinson, I don't love.
I take an
I know
11. I'm a
people
little
like
nervous
him.
about these reports now. Oh, Levis goes, so we lost that.
That's
But
right.
yeah, I'm a little nervous for reports about Whittington is like kind of emerging in the Rams receiver room. But Tolbert's my favorite. But yeah,
Yeah,
like the Jermaine Burton, some of the rookies make me nervous.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Especially
so
some of the Burton news hasn't been great. Like Quentin Johnston is one of those
oh yeah,
guys. And then like
I
if
took
you
him
go
like
at the
one time.
running backs, let's see like the running backs in this area.
I took
So
a
I
little
like
Lloyd early,
I actually
there
like a
haven't
lot
been.
of these running backs still. So like those five I actually like a lot. I really
I was gonna
like
say since
Braylon
we have a
Allen.
Jets thing going, I just
Yeah.
wanted to keep an eye on that.
But then
Um,
going past Braylon
and then
Allen,
yeah,
I feel like is
Kamadi
where it drops
Vidal.
off.
I took him early, and then
Yeah.
I pumped the brakes, and um, yeah, I need to take more Tyrone Tracy. Um, so Braylon Allen goes. Okay, we are up in two. So there's some other. I don't know if you wanted to go running back. We're at 2, 4, 6, 1. So these are the running backs. I'll just give you a quick look there. We got these receivers: Pearsall, Robinson, McMillan, Tolbert, and then we do have Ty Conklin.
Oh yeah, let's take Conklin. I think that
Okay,
makes
that makes
sense.
it easy, just further building out that stack.
Yeah.
I think Conklin's my highest tight end, and Rogers is my highest quarterback, and I'm not mad about it either.
Yeah, yeah, that's great.
And then I didn't know if you wanted to think through, is there any like, third, since we got, the Levis thing sniped, if there's any third quarterbacks that you like, not necessarily now, but like that would pair with any receivers or tight ends. Well, I guess we could just do two tight ends since we got Andrews. So,
Yeah, I think two tight ends is probably good.
yeah, especially Andrews Conklin. I think that feels good for sure. Okay, we are on the clock, so I'll just kind of look at running back receiver here. So we got Pearsall, Marshawn Lloyd, Bucky Irving, Demarcus Robinson, McMillan, Khalil Herbert,
You could
Tolbert.
take McMillan. I like McMillan here.
Yeah, I like
I
that.
think he's a fun rookie.
Okay, so
Like
then
this is I feel like the kind of rookies that are back here are, especially if they've been getting some decent news in camp, are the best to bet on. Like I've been like I know Leggett hasn't like had the greatest camp ever, but he's still like a basically first round pick, and like he's just in a good range where it's like cheap enough to want to bet on it. And like Polk is a good guy too. And the ones that I'm more nervous about that I unfortunately have quite a bit of are like Troy Franklin
um,
hasn't been having the greatest camp. Like even Javon Baker, I feel like it's been a little bit queasy lately of like, is he actually going to be anything this year? And
I've
so
been
I'm
starting to take
definitely
more
pumping the
Polk,
brakes on those
and
guys. Yeah,
then yeah, just the Patriots offense just makes me nervous
I
now.
know, I
I think
know,
about
I know.
who are you a fan of, by the way?
Oh, I'm a Packers fan.
Okay, you are a Packers fan. Okay, I didn't know
Yeah,
if that was
yeah.
just basketball related or if
I
there's.
know, I know. It's kind
Well,
of
lucky
funny because
you.
like
I mean,
I
three
know,
like
I know.
franchise quarterbacks. You are hashtag
It,
blessed because I'm a Washington fan, and let me tell you, it is tough sledding
oh
over
yeah.
here.
Hey,
But
you got a good year ahead of you with Daniels here.
yeah, you got hope with her. I've become I got a lot of scar tissue with the basically
Yeah,
swinging and
yeah,
missing on every first round quarterback we've ever
yeah. That's
taken.
true.
So a lot of scar tissue over
That's
here.
true. That's true.
I
Yeah,
actually
it's funny.
wanted to
I
do
like.
like a love type situation. I was kind of fine. Like I was like, let's trade back and keep, even though
Yeah,
everybody's grossed out by keep Hal, draft like a Penix. I didn't realize Penix was going to go so early, but
yeah,
I actually really liked Michael Penix from what I saw in the pre-draft process. And I was
yeah,
like, let's do like Hal, Penix, trade back and like get like a ton of picks and build a really good team. And then do like maybe like a 1 or 2 year situation with Penix that Jordan Love had the 3 years. And but I get it. When you have the second overall pick, you go for it, and we'll see
yeah,
what happens. So,
yeah, yeah.
but your
I've like.
Packers, you have a lot to be excited about. Just, I mean, sure in
I
fantasy, but
know.
just as a team, boy, they are a fun young team.
I
So,
know, I know. I like ever since that Cowboys game in the playoffs last year. I
oh,
think
that was
actually
wild.
it's funny because I think I tweeted after that game. I was just looking it up the other day. I was like, after that game, I was like, I think I'm gonna own a lot of Packers in best ball next year. Like that was literally just my like, I probably just want to end a lot of drafts with Packers.
So when you look at your team exposure, you said you have, it sounds like you have a lot of Titans. You sound like you have a lot of Jets, and I do as those two
Yeah,
teams as well. And it sounds like Packers. Would those be probably definitely in your top 5 team exposures?
yeah, for sure. I think,
Then we are lockstep. We have a lot of similarities
yeah,
here.
I know. It's funny because
Hopefully, we're
I'm
both
like,
happy in December.
I know, I know. I try to say like, yeah, I am not biased. Like, I'm not just a Packers fan. Like, picking Packers this year makes it a little bit tough to say that. But then I also like look at my exposures and like I have a ton of Aaron Jones, and then I have a ton of Rodgers. All these like ex Packers. So I'm
Ex
like, all right,
Packers.
well,
Okay,
maybe
like
I
it.
am a little bit biased.
We have a question here. I was going a ton of Roman Wilson early, and I pumped the brakes, but probably didn't pump the
Yeah,
brakes quick enough. I like Michael Wilson
yeah,
too. Do you
definitely.
have a preference?
Yeah, I would say Michael Wilson. I
Mhm.
actually don't have a ton of either, but the news seems way more positive about Michael.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I definitely want to get some more Michael Wilson. Yeah, that's awesome that you were able to get Braylon Allen earlier. I kind of wish I took more earlier. You got 20% on him. Okay, we are coming up again, and we are at the 16, 17. So 190, 195, 2472. Like you said, don't need another tight end. Looking at basically quarterback, running back, and then decide where to tack on. So
We could throw
any,
Corley on there. I like Corley. Just
okay,
another Jet and just kind of keep building out the Jets.
that
I
works
feel
for
like
me.
especially when like you miss the studs, like we don't have Wilson or Brees, and so and
Right.
like at this price, it's like all these guys are like the cost the same, so it's like might as well load up here and just hope like one or two of them does well. And like if if Conklin isn't that great, but Corley's good, then we don't really care that much. Like it's just kind of better. I
I'll
feel
queue
like.
up a couple. Oh, it looks like a lot of my favorite guys just went, but had gone recently. What's your thoughts on? I probably need some more Tyrone Tracy. Do you like Tyrone
Oh yeah,
Tracy?
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
then
I like
because running back is
Tracy.
getting really thin. Tank Bigsby's been
Is
one I've
this?
been.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say Tank Bigsby
I
too.
was gonna say Tank Bigsby's been one I take a lot late, and now he already went here in this end of the 16th. So
Mhm.
feel like we got to get our and then
Justice Hill is kind of interesting too with Lamar.
and he'll be super low owned. So it's really your take on that. I mean,
Yeah,
I do believe in the 17th, 18th. It's totally fine to scroll down and
yeah. I
get
think
some
let's just
low.
take Tracy and see what happens with Hill. I wouldn't mind taking Hill also,
Okay, yeah, and I
because
mean,
I think
I do think this is a team Lamar Rogers you could do too. I know we talked
yeah,
about how we like 3, but we weren't
I
able
know,
to
I
get a
know.
third stack. So so let's do Tracy. See what happens. We are 18 picks away because yeah, the quarterback situation. I'm trying to see. I unfortunately don't think. I'm even looking at running backs too. Don't think unless Daniel Jones is still there that any
Yeah, we don't
because we didn't get
have
any
much going on.
Patriots because Drake May's still there. But yeah, I don't think we have any stack options
Yeah,
available to us here. So yeah, so
yeah,
2582. So
yeah.
Justice Hill did go.
Mm,
Who are some scroll down players you like here? I don't think. I mean, I really don't need another receiver or tight end in my opinion.
yeah,
Is there a scroll down running back that you like in this area? I know we also talked about usually drafting 5, and that's why I'm more like in the 3-5-7-3, but the third stack just didn't work for us. But who are some of your other scroll down
to be
options here?
honest, I don't love many of these guys. I feel
I
like
mean, and Mitchell's
it's
another Raven, but he probably won't
yeah,
be back till October, November. I'm
yeah,
guessing.
I actually like that.
As you
I
can see, I
like
took him
stacking him
early,
on
very
there.
hopeful that he
Same,
could be
yeah,
of some.
same.
And then the other one I'll throw out there that I've taken is with the bad Kendre
Mm,
news is
yeah,
Jamal Williams. I've taken him a couple times, especially in BBM. If he's going to
yeah,
be, some sub 15%, 10% owned guy, that's kind of interesting. And I said it would be really hilarious because I took him a ton last year in that middle range, and oh boy, did he burn me bad. So.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I like the Mitchell shot. That'd be pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, let's take a look at what the underdog report is saying. We started on a pup list. I don't think there's been any update since then, other than starting on the pup,
Yeah.
obviously. So I don't know. Have you heard like any reports of when they expect back? I don't even think, like I said, I watched that show on ETR with Stefania Bell. I don't even think they talked about him particularly, but I thought that it was kind of like an late October return, and probably like will take some time to ramp up situation, you know.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, with the 18th round, like, paired him with Lamar,
Yeah.
it's like, well, let's just hope he's
Yeah.
got like, we're just hoping for, like, one big playoff week out of him, and, like, that's
Right.
what we need, you know?
Right, because he's another one. Actually, let me pull up the ownership that Staff Run estimates. I'd be interested to see. I would imagine he's like sub 10%, 15%. But let me take a quick
Well, he
look.
actually might be a little bit more because he's started, higher, I feel like. So
Yeah,
he'll
he did.
probably end lower than he is
Oh
right now,
yeah,
just like one of
his
those guys.
current yeah. So his estimated ownership is 42%. So
Yeah. But I would think he's going in the non-drafted direction. So if you think he's going like, I don't know, half of the time in the next 30% of the drafts, he probably ends up closer to like 20% or 15%.
right,
But it's funny
right.
when you look at the scroll down, because that's one of my little sections too. There's like the high on guys, and then it kind of falls off, and there's like this weird piece, which is like a lot of actually these receivers that are falling right now, like the Baker, Troy Franklin, like McCaffrey's probably going to be there, where they're probably going to be in this like ugly tier of like 70% owned, but
Mm-hmm.
which is like worse. Like you either
Right,
want them to be like really owned, or then you want them to be like 50% owned kind of thing.
right.
And it's like these guys that fall in the middle, it's like it's better just to like completely skip them.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, there's some interesting stuff looking at that today. I really dove into that. Yeah, I think we take Mitchell here and call it good.
Just with the correlation, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty fun team.
Yeah, absolutely. Get a lone Mitchell here. So we'll go through all the teams and thank you guys for, jumping in chat with us, drafting with us, watching. We appreciate it. Be sure to like this episode. And if you haven't already subscribed to, let me put the board up, the Fanspeak Network, be sure to subscribe. We have a giveaway at 350. We're doing a big giveaway at 1,000. We're doing a 8-hour live stream next Friday, week from today, 4 to midnight.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, quite a party we've got going on. Andrew and I will be on for 8 hours. It'll be fun. And I appreciate, I missed this earlier, but where's our guy? Jamie said, just want to shout out, I love your content over here at Fanspeak. So thank you very much. Of course, all our content on fanspeak.com is free. Articles and such, go to the Best Ball Headquarters tab. Check that out, and we appreciate it. And of course, like, subscribe, and we have 4 to 5 live drafts here on the Fanspeak Network, and we'll have plenty of great in-season content too. DFS, underdog dailies, sports betting, you name it, we got it. So we appreciate that. Now let's look at some teams here. Find BBM here. So I'm doing half. I'm doing 75 BBM. So I got about 17 more to go. Because I want to leave some bankroll to do, the ones like today. There's some plenty of chow chows, and I'm basically any dog breed under 101. I'm doing.
There you go.
So because those advance rates are so good, the chow chow.
Yeah.
Like you said, and I always love your Twitter posts where you analyze the contest. Because last year, and I've said this on stream plenty of times, so if people have heard this, I'm sorry, but last year I just did not pay attention to that at all. I was just firing away, and I was not paying attention to that. And I made the BBM finals the year prior and on much less entries, and then last year did a lot more entries, but did not make the finals or in all the puppies and all that stuff. And so I just was trying to be really cautious of that this year. And I love these tournaments that are like 1 of 6, 1 of 5, or like chow chow 2 of 8, just absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, Luis was in here. He said that was a fun one. Justin said the chat was sharp tonight. Yeah, this was a fun draft. So let's check them all out here. So we'll go over our team first. We got it up. I know John and I talked about it. We like the 3 quarterback stack, but we did get Lamar and Rodgers and a 2-6-8-2 from the 3 position. And so Lamar, Rodgers, obviously both stacked with John's guy, a chain I always say, is it I always say his name
I
wrong.
always say Achan, but I
Achan.
don't know
I'm
if
like, is
that's
it
right.
Achan? Is it Achan? I mix it up mess it up. I do it a different version every time. So, okay. So we got Devon Achan, Chase Brown, Blake Corum, Nick Chubb, Tyrone Tracy, and Keaton Mitchell. And then we got CeeDee Lamb, Devonta Smith, Christian Watson, Lad McConkey, DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Williams, Jalen McMillan, Malachi Corley, and then Mark Andrews, Ty Conklin. So what a 4-man jet stack, and then 3
Oh,
Ravens with the and then there are some bringbacks in here too. That's the nice thing about Best Ball, really shows you the bringbacks that are underlined.
yeah, that's cool.
So we got some bringbacks in the running backs. So that's kind of nice. So yeah, I'm happy. What do you feel about the team overall, John? And
No,
I'll
I
be
like
sure
it.
to label it in case we can split the
Yeah,
1.5.
yeah. Yeah, for sure. No, I think it's a good team. I like it. I think it's a good team to take 6 running backs. Like I said,
Yes,
I
yes,
don't do that a lot, but I feel like with like I'm not super sold on Corum. I've seen some sharp people being on Corum, and so like I
yeah.
feel like having the Corum plus another was a good one there. So yeah, I like it.
Okay, yeah, I same. I'm usually 5 running backs, but I felt like this was a good one for 6. So, okay, so I believe the next one is Justin from the 7 spot, 2682. He goes Herbert Mayfield, Brees Hall, Aaron Jones, Jaleel McLaughlin, Khalil Herbert, Damian Pierce, Audric Estime, and then we got Nico Collins, DK Metcalf, Christian Kirk, Chris Godwin, obviously stacked with Baker, JMO, Cortland Sutton, definitely a lot of bringbacks in here. I see Josh Palmer
No,
stacked and Quentin Johnson stacked with Herbert, and then Sam Laporta and Dalton Schultz. So definitely waited on quarterback there. I probably would have done 3 with waiting, but I mean, I look at Herbert as more elite than I think the market does. So
yeah, true.
no, I like it, and I like kind of that whole double anchor kind of. It's a modified double anchor with Brees Hall, Aaron Jones. Any thoughts on Justin's team?
Yeah, I like it. I love Aaron Jones, so I'll never hate that pick.
I like it. Okay, let's go to TD King is Andrew. He was from the 8 spot, 3573. And he's usually a 2 quarterback guy. So he listened to you, John. He's going Caleb
Oh, he
Williams,
had 2
Dak.
buys. That's right. That's
Oh,
why.
okay. There we go. There we go. Okay, so Caleb Williams, Dak Prescott, which I love those two. And then third is Deshaun Watson. Oh, anchored with Bijan. I like that. Oh, double anchor.
Oh
I
wow,
like that.
Bijan and Gibbs.
Bijan. Wow. So Gibbs spelled him at 17. Yeah, to get a Bijan Gibbs combo, that's really nice. So Bijan Gibbs double anchor, Trey Benson, Roshan Johnson, and Eli Mitchell. And then we got DJ Moore stacked, obviously, with Caleb, T. Higgins, Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen, further stacked with Caleb, Keon Coleman, Jerry Jeudy stacked with Deshaun, and Jalen Tolbert and Jake Ferguson stacked with Dak. Of course, we mentioned it live in the draft. He got really excellent value on Dak by taking Ferguson. Somehow he got Dak to fall to like 113. And yeah, Ferguson, Hawkinson, and Ben Sinnott as his third tight end. So yeah, I think with
It's a
Hawkinson,
good
it's
team.
nice to get a third tight end there. What were you gonna
I
say?
was thinking that with him starting Bijan and Gibbs, he would have weaker receivers, but it looks
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah, no, seriously, to be able to start double anchor, that receiver room still feels pretty really strong to me. So yeah, no, I like that a lot. I think what he did is what I think most people should do when you go double anchor is then just immediately kind of hit the receiver hard,
Yeah,
in a
yeah.
row, and you can clearly tell by the pick numbers that he probably went like 5 or 6 in a row. So I think that's smart. After going double anchor, I like that. And boy, it's nice this time of year to get those combos that you weren't able to get much.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I like that a lot. I believe the 8 spot or the 9th spot was in chat. I know 10, 11, 12 was, but we'll look at this one anyways. It was a 3573. Anthony Richardson, Justin Fields, Derek Carr, Saquon Barkley, so anchor Bill, Jonathan Brooks, Devin Singletary, Jerome Ford, Ty Chandler, Jamar Chase, Chris Olave, stacked Rasheed Rice, Pickens stacked Hollywood Brown, Rashid Shaheed, Josh Downs, Hunter Henry, Colby Parkinson. He's one that I need to get some more of, and Michael Mayer.
Not the strongest tight end team, I'll say that.
Yeah, no, when you just have Henry and
But
then
I guess we went 3 there.
yeah,
I would have
but
preferred like I don't know who's available. But I would have preferred like Theo Johnson or Tucker Kraft or something instead of Mayer. I feel like Mayer's a little thin.
Right, right. Yeah, I haven't taken much more, and I think the 18th round tight ends have gotten thinner. In the
Yeah.
last couple weeks for sure. Um, yeah. How much Fields have you? I haven't honestly just leaned into the Russ as the starter and going to hang on to it. And then when I saw the
That's what I
preseason,
was doing too. That's
okay,
that
yeah,
I was like at the beginning of the season, I'm like, Fields is kind of fun, and then I was like, I think Russ is probably gonna actually start most of the year. So then I was just,
yeah.
I
Mike
was just
Tomlin
taking
doesn't
Russ
care about your
whenever I
fantasy team.
wanted.
He's not
Yeah,
going to be okay with what happened in that preseason game with fumbled
yeah,
snaps and sacks, and
yeah, yeah,
Russ, they just need a kind of a game manager, Russ, and I think they'll be fine. So that's my opinion, but we'll see. Okay, so then we got Noel Fan, who joins us in a lot of chat drafts, which I love to see, at the 10 spot, 3573. Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Bo Nix. So he waited to get that third very late. I like that. David Montgomery, DeAndre Swift, Brian Robinson, J.K. Dobbins, Ray Davis, Garrett Wilson, Drake London. I love that combo. That's a combo I was getting a lot early in drafts when I was at the back half. Tank Dell, Jaden Reed, Brandon Cooks, Demarcus Robinson, and Marvin Mims, and then Evan Ingram, Pat Fryermuth, and Dawson Knox. So it looks like stacks. He just was able to stack Evan Ingram, Dawson Knox with Lawrence and Allen, and then Nix he got with Mims. So had to get some later ones there, but I don't mind that. I like the three quarterbacks he got, and I think he still built out a solid running back room, kind of going a little bit more zero RB. What do you think of this team?
yeah, yeah. It's good. I feel like Allen plus Lawrence. I wouldn't usually go three, but
You
I
might wait a little on
he
the
did have
second.
did have the double buy, so he had to kind of do that.
Oh, okay. He had the 12. Yeah, the 212s too. That's tough when
Do
there's so many.
The Hail Mary Broncos sack.
Yeah, no, you got that third stack built out, get you through the bye, and then the third stack, through the season and playoffs. We talked about that at the top of the show.
Yeah.
So, okay. And then I believe the 11 spot was in our chat as well. PRIR 124. We got a 2592. So we got Jalen Hurts, Kirk Cousins, and then Kamara, Zamir White, Zach Moss, Austin Eckler, Will Shipley, who's getting some steam for sure. AJ Brown stacked Deebo Samuel, Stephon Diggs, Xavier Worthy, Darnell Mooney, Demario Douglas, Greg Dortch, Jalen Hyatt, Ray McLeod, and then Kyle Pitts and Dallas Goedert. I don't know that you
That's
needed.
interesting.
I don't know if you needed 9 receivers, but
Guess that's a fun Hail Mary to go with Cousins if somebody gets hurt or something.
Yeah, the
Ray
McLeod. Yeah, I probably would have done maybe a third like tack on a third late stacked quarterback or a sixth running back, but yeah, I mean it's definitely fun. I like the stacking both the tight ends. You got that both kind of elite tight ends, but later prices with Goddard and Pitts, both stacked with the quarterback. I like that a lot. I think that's a lot of fun. Okay, and then finally we have Iceman, who I know was in chat at the 12 spot, 3582, Kyler Murray, who I'm trying to get more of, good old Will Levis gets snuck from us, and Drake May, Ramondre Stevenson with May, Najee Harris, Tajee Spears with Levis, Zeke Elliott, Marshawn Lloyd, and then Marvin Harrison, Jalen Waddle, Amari Cooper, Calvin Ridley, love that. Dontavian Wicks, we love that. Jalen Polk, DJ Shark, Jordan Whittington, Trey McBride, and Luke Musgrave. So, yeah, I like this team too. Yeah, we had a strong room here. Absolutely.
I know it was a sharp room. I knew it was a sharp room when I saw like 17th and 18th round all these guys that I like taking going off the board, and I'm like, come on, take the crappier players.
Yeah. That's when you're in a sharp room for sure. Andrew says great draft, everyone. Always nice to have John Boy on the Fanspeak network, and looking forward to seeing what else he puts out this year. So what can we be paying attention to in season, John?
Yeah, we'll see. I really want to get pretty into the battle royales on Underdog, and I'll probably still play DraftKings, but probably a little bit more casually, and maybe just a couple single entry lineups or something. And I really want to try to hit the battle royales pretty hard. I've been doing some data analysis on the battle royale stuff because they did release all 18 weeks worth of the main contest.
Okay.
So, but there's just a lot to churn through. So I don't know if I have anything too groundbreaking yet, but I'm working on getting there. I'm like, my pace is like, I have a barrage of like 100 something slows right now. Like once all that clears out, I'm probably not going to do any more slows.
Yeah.
I'm just going to kind of casually do fast drafts for some of the, bigger buy-in contests
Yeah.
that come out, like this $50 one I really like, and then I'm just gonna pivot all my time towards the BR data and try to get ramped up for week 1. So
I
I'll
like that.
probably keep the show me the data going and have it turn into some form of battle royale analysis or prep or whatever. I haven't figured it out yet, but that's probably the goal.
Yeah, well, I know all of us at Fanspeak, Andrew, Justin, Steve, and I, Spread, we're all going to be getting into the battle royale more and more too. So that we love to hear that Show Me the Data will have some BR data and to help us because it's still relatively new. So that's great to hear you're doing that.
Yeah,
And
I'm thinking they're gonna be pretty big contests this year. I mean, I know last year they started out big and then they kind of tapered off, but it does seem like the momentum is kind of carrying there a little bit. And it seems like I'm assuming the first place is going to be, 50 grand or something like that every week, which would be pretty awesome.
That'll be pretty fun. Yeah, I had some sweats last year. Didn't get up to the top. Our guy Andrew, who said can't wait for the battle royales, and I know again all of us are excited to see your data on the battle royales. I believe he finished in 4th. Correct me if I'm wrong in chat. Andrew, 1 week finished in 4th and had a major sweat for first. Bruni asked where you were at with BBM volume. How many more did you have left? Did you say?
Yeah, I'm at I just got over 130, so I've only got 17 or 18 left. Yeah, it's a pretty good pace though. I'm trying to get everything done before Labor Day. Because I don't know. I just
then you do want to turn your attention to week 1. Yeah.
I prefer to just have a nice relaxing Labor Day weekend, not have to check my phone for when all the slows are down to 1 hour clocks or something.
I was gonna say the clocks go nuts then. Yeah.
I was just I'm trying to really cruise into the start of the season and not have it be hectic. I went too crazy, so I feel like I've went pretty crazy on the slows over the last 3 weeks, and I'm starting to get out of it. I maxed the slow puppy, and so I was like, all right, but I'm almost 100 completed there, so I only have a few left. So yeah, it's been a fun summer, but I definitely am getting a little bit of the fatigue, and I'm like, all right, I'm ready to start thinking about something else.
Yeah, I'm excited for in season, and again, on the Fanspeak Network, we will have battle royale stuff, underdog pick'ems, DFS, sports betting. We'll have multiple sports betting shows each week covering sides and totals, props, anytime touchdowns are my favorite market. Love that market. So a lot of fun stuff of in season here on the Fanspeak Network. Justin said this was 121 for him, so he's in the home stretch. So yeah, this was a lot of fun, John. I mean, I know I learned a lot, and I feel really good that I'm in lockstep with you on a lot of things. So
we are pretty synced up.
That pumps my tires for my home stretch. So any final thoughts for the people? You kind of said what you're going to be doing these next couple weeks to finish up draft season, but any final thoughts?
Thanks for having me. It was fun chatting with you, and I like our draft, and it was great to be on.
Awesome. Well, thank you to everybody in chat. Again, if you haven't already subscribed to Fanspeak Network, be sure you do. Lots of fun stuff the rest of draft season, a lot of fun stuff in season. Big thank you to John. Be sure to follow him at John Boy Beats and Show Me the Data. A lot of fun stuff coming. So thank you guys. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and we will see you next time.